While driving my wife and her friends to a spa weekend, I heard her say from the back seat, "Honestly, he's like a rescue dog. You feed him, he wags his tail. So easy to control." They all laughed. Loud, obnoxious, cruel laughter. I gripped the steering wheel tighter, my knuckles whitening. The rearview mirror caught a glimpse of her smirking as if she'd just nailed a joke at a stand-up show. Her name is Amanda. My wife. My partner. Or so I thought. And the friends? Jessica, Courtney, and Megan, the mean girls of adulthood, dressed in designer sunglasses and armed with cruelty masked as humor. We were still an hour out from the spa resort. 60 more minutes of pretending I didn't hear the punchline of what my life had become. I didn't say a word. I didn't swerve. I just kept driving. But something shifted in me during that hour. Something I couldn't undo. When we pulled up to the resort, Amanda didn't even wait for the engine to die. She swung the door open like she couldn't stand another second in the same space as me. "Oh," she said, glancing back with that smug little grin. "Don't forget to wash the sheets before I get back. They stink like you." Then she slammed the door. Slammed it like she was closing a chapter. 6 hours. 6 damn hours I drove back in silence. My mind replayed every detail like a broken film reel. Her voice, the laughter, the disgust in her tone when she talked about me. I started wondering, how long had she felt this way? Had I been blind? Or had she just become a better liar? I got home just after dark. The house felt colder than I remembered. I stood in the doorway, looking at our wedding photo. Me, all smiles and hope. Her, that same practiced smirk. I stared at it like it was some relic from a life that never really existed. Then I ripped it off the wall. That night I couldn't sleep. Not because I was sad. No, I felt something worse, humiliation. I'd become her personal joke, the punchline to her cruel comedy act. And I started to wonder, what else had I missed? The next morning, I started digging. I didn't even know what I was looking for. Maybe closure, maybe proof I wasn't crazy. I opened her laptop. Password, gotta say. Fitting. Arrogant. But it opened. Emails. Texts. Pictures. She wasn't just laughing at me behind my back. She was sharing photos of some gym rat named Kyle, shirtless mirror selfies, messages like, "Can't wait to see you again," face blowing a kiss. And he thinks I'm at yoga. LOL. I stared at the screen, my mouth dry. It wasn't just betrayal, it was mockery. She was building a life outside our marriage. One where I was the idiot husband who folded laundry and paid bills while she played house with a younger guy behind my back. I should have felt heartbreak, but all I felt was rage. That night, I didn't confront her. No, I waited. I cleaned the house like she asked. Washed the sheets. But I didn't do it for her. I did it because something was boiling inside me, and I needed to keep my hands busy. She came back 2 days later, knocked on the door like nothing happened. When I opened it, she stood there with mascara streaks down her cheeks and her luggage dragging behind her like a body bag. "Can we talk?" she sniffed. I didn't move, just looked at her. "Please, Josh," she said, voice cracking. I messed up. Oh, now she wanted to talk. The woman who told her friends I was easy to control. The same woman who slammed the car door on our marriage and insulted me like a stranger. Suddenly, she remembered how to cry. I stepped aside. Not because I forgave her. No, that wasn't even on the table. I let her in because I wanted to hear every lie she was about to tell me, and make her watch as each one shattered against the truth I already held in my hands. She sat down on the edge of the couch like she was trying to look small, delicate, innocent. Like I hadn't just spent the past 2 days replaying her giggles in the back seat and staring at a half-naked guy flexing in her inbox. "I know you're angry," she started, voice trembling. Perfect little performance. "But I swear, it's not what you think." I didn't respond. Just looked at her. That silence made her squirm. "Josh," she reached for my hand, but I pulled it back like her touch was acid. It was stupid. A mistake. Just a stupid mistake, okay? I was drunk. I was confused. It didn't mean anything. She blinked fast, waiting for sympathy. Instead, I stood up and walked to the kitchen counter, grabbed her laptop, still open to Kyle's greatest hits. I turned it toward her and tapped the screen. "Which night were you drunk?" I asked. "Tuesday, when you sent him the wish you were in my bed pic. Or Thursday, when you told him you'd be wearing nothing but perfume and his favorite smile." Her face drained. You what?" I cut in, finally letting my voice rise. "You thought I wouldn't find out? You thought I'd keep wagging my tail because you threw me a damn snack now and then?" Amanda stood up too, arms crossed like she was the one being attacked. You were never around, Josh. You're always working, always tired. I felt lonely. Oh, so cheating is a spa treatment now. I laughed bitterly. You lie. You disappear. You sleep with some dime store bodybuilder. And now I'm supposed to understand because you were lonely? She rolled her eyes. God, this is why I didn't tell you. You're always so dramatic. That did it. That one word. Dramatic. Like I was the problem. Like my pain was just a nuisance to her little fantasy life. You didn't tell me, I said, my voice cold. Because you enjoyed it. You enjoyed lying. You liked the power. You liked making fun of me in front of your friends like I was some sad little puppy you picked up from a shelter. Her jaw clenched, but she didn't deny it. That silence said more than any excuse could. Then came the shift. Her tears dried up in seconds. She grabbed her purse and snapped, Fine. If you're going to be like this, then maybe it's good we're over. That's what she said. Good we're over. Just like that. Like 5 years of marriage was a pair of shoes she decided didn't fit anymore. She turned to walk out. But I wasn't done. You think he's going to keep you? I asked. She froze at the door. Kyle, you're the married woman who cheats. The one who lies. The one who can't even look her husband in the eye and admit what she's done. You think that's sexy long term. She didn't look back. Just slammed the door. Again. And this time, it was permanent. But when I looked around the house, empty wine glasses on the table, her perfume still lingering in the hallway, the sheets still warm from another man, I felt something strange. Not pain. Relief. Because I finally saw her for who she really was. Not the girl I married. Not the woman I hoped she'd become. Just a selfish, manipulative liar who thought love was a game and I was her toy. But I'm not a toy. And she's not coming back. Not to me. Not to this home. Not to the man who used to wag his tail when she tossed him a crumb. She thought she'd broken me. But all she did was wake me up. And I was just getting started. The next morning felt like waking up in a house I didn't recognize. Amanda's perfume still clung to the air like a ghost I didn't ask for. The bed was cold on her side, but not in a way that made me miss her, in a way that made me sick. I couldn't stop thinking about that car ride. The way she laughed. The way she treated me like a servant with a wallet. I replayed it so many times it started to feel like a scene from a movie, except I was the idiot everyone laughed at. I didn't tell anyone right away. Not my brother, not my coworkers, not even my best friend Tyler, who'd always had suspicions about her. No, this kind of humiliation needed time to boil. By evening, I had a plan. I wasn't going to mope around, cry into my hands like some broken man. Amanda wanted to treat me like a joke? Fine. But I'd be the one writing the punchline. I started by sending copies of the messages and photos to myself, then deleting them from her devices. She'd never know I had them. Not yet. I opened a separate bank account. Quietly. Moved half the savings. Froze the credit card we shared. I contacted a lawyer. Told him everything. By the time Amanda came knocking again 2 days later, all fake tears and mascara, I had a steel wall where my heart used to be. This time, I let her in, but only to watch her dig her own grave. She sniffled as she stood in the living room, arms crossed, acting like she didn't know what I knew. Josh, I've been thinking about everything. About us. I know I said some things I shouldn't have. You mean like calling me a rescue dog? I asked calmly. Her face fell. You heard that. All of it. She sat down. It was just a joke, babe. No, that wasn't a joke. That was the truth slipping out. Amanda shifted, realizing the tone had changed. Okay, maybe I was frustrated. But it doesn't mean I don't love you. Love, I said, then leaned in slightly. Tell me something, Amanda. How many times did you love me before sneaking off to his place after yoga? She looked away. How many nights did I cook you dinner while he was undressing you with his eyes over text? How many lies did you tell with that same mouth you used to whisper I'm yours? You're twisting it, she said quickly. Kyle wasn't serious. He was a distraction. So was I shot back. From your boring little life. She stood up, her voice rising. You think you're perfect? You think being some boring office guy who folds laundry makes you a prize? I needed more. I needed passion. No, Amanda, I said, smiling coldly. You needed validation. Attention. Someone dumb enough to fall for the act I finally see through. She stepped closer. Are you going to throw this all away? I laughed. You already did. She paused for a second, staring at me. Then, with the most venom I'd ever heard in her voice, she muttered, You'll regret this. Will I? I asked, stepping closer. Because from where I'm standing, the only thing I regret is not seeing you for what you were sooner. She stormed out, slammed the door, again. But it didn't echo this time. It sounded final. That night, I poured a whiskey, sat in the chair by the window, and watched the rain hit the street. I felt something shift again. This time not in anger, not even in pain. It was clarity. All the signs had been there. The distance, the sudden spa weekends, the fake smiles, the way she laughed harder at other people's jokes than mine, the way she stopped reaching for my hand at night. I thought it was a rough patch, but it wasn't. It was a prelude to betrayal, to lies, to watching the woman I married rot from the inside out while wearing Chanel lipstick and calling it growth. She didn't fall out of love with me. She fell in love with attention, with power, with the game, and she lost. Because now, it's my turn. 3 days passed, and Amanda hadn't called. Not once. I thought maybe she'd finally gotten the message, that I wasn't going to play the role of the loyal idiot anymore. But I was wrong. It was Sunday morning when she showed up again, this time without makeup, wearing the old hoodie she used to steal from my closet like it made her feel closer to me. She stood outside the door, holding a cup of coffee like this was some regular morning, like nothing had shattered between us. I opened the door and didn't say a word. I brought your favorite, she said softly, offering the cup. I didn't take it. Her lips twitched, trying to form some version of a smile, but it collapsed under the weight of the truth between us. I've been thinking a lot, she started. About us. About what I did. I leaned on the doorframe. And I was selfish. I let myself get distracted. And I know I hurt you. But I want to fix things. I almost laughed. Fix, I said. You don't fix betrayal with coffee and a sad voice. You don't wipe away humiliation with a hoodie and puppy eyes. I miss you, she said quickly. And I miss us. No, Amanda. You miss control. Her mouth opened, but I raised a hand. You don't miss me. You miss the version of me who didn't know. Who washed your sheets while you giggled in the back seat with your girlfriends about how easy it was to lie to me. She swallowed hard. Kyle meant nothing. You meant nothing to yourself the moment you looked at me and saw someone you could humiliate. There it was again. That flicker of rage behind her eyes. The one she used to hide better. She wasn't crying anymore. She was calculating. You think you're so noble now, she said, stepping forward. You think just because I slipped up, you get to act like you're some damn saint. I never claimed to be a saint, I replied. But I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't laugh about you behind your back like a damn schoolgirl. She stepped back. So what, Josh? You're done with me? Just like that? No, I said. I was done the moment you looked me in the eye and lied after I already knew the truth. That's the part one can't forgive, not even the affair. The way you didn't flinch when you lied. She turned away, pacing the porch like she was still trying to win some invisible argument. And then she spun back, fire in her voice. He's married too. You know that. Kyle. He went back to his wife. I meant nothing to him. That what you wanted to hear? I blinked. Wow, I muttered. You came here to hurt me more? That your way of fixing things? No, she said, her voice cracking again. I wanted you to know it wasn't real. I already knew, I replied. Because nothing about you has been real for a long time. She stood frozen. And then she did something I didn't expect. She dropped the coffee, let it shatter on the porch. Then she stormed to her car, slammed the door, and peeled out of the driveway like a teenager in a tantrum. And that should have been the end. Except it wasn't. That night, I got a call. From Jessica, one of Amanda's friends. Her voice was shaky. Josh, I shouldn't be telling you this, but Amanda's not just messing with Kyle. I sat down. She's been talking to someone else too. A guy named Marcus. He's dangerous. The kind of guy you don't say no to. Why are you telling me this? I asked, my voice low. Because I think she's losing it. And you need to be careful. I hung up the phone and sat there in the dark, the room spinning around me. This wasn't over. Amanda wasn't done. And now, it wasn't just betrayal. It was something else. Something darker. I didn't sleep that night. Every shadow outside my window felt like it had a face. Every noise made me reach for the drawer where I kept the old baseball bat. Amanda wasn't just toxic, she was reckless. And now I had a name I'd never heard before. Marcus. The kind of name that didn't belong in marriage problems. The kind of name Jessica said was dangerous. I didn't know what to believe, but something in her voice had struck me. Jessica had always been a smug gossip. Never once looked me in the eye. But last night, her voice was different. Nervous. Urgent. Like she knew something was coming, and I wasn't ready for it. So I started watching my back. The next morning, I called my buddy Tyler and told him everything. He didn't act surprised. I always knew Amanda was trouble, he said. But this? This sounds like more than infidelity, man. You think this guy's been to your house? I don't know, I said. But if he has, I need to be ready. I installed a camera by the front door that afternoon. Bought a motion light. Locked the gate behind me when I took out the trash. I didn't care if it made me paranoid. I'd rather be cautious than be blindsided again. That evening, around 11:47 p.m., the camera pinged my phone. Someone was outside. I jumped out of bed and checked the screen. A tall figure in a hoodie stood near my porch, not moving, not knocking, just watching. I didn't turn the lights on. I didn't open the door. I just watched him stand there for 4 minutes, then slowly walk away. He didn't even try to hide his face from the camera. He wanted me to know he was there. The next morning, I called Amanda. I wasn't going to beg. I wasn't going to yell. I just needed answers. She answered on the second ring. What do you want, Josh? Who is Marcus? I asked, dead calm. Silence. Then, you talked to Jessica. I did, I said. And now there's a guy showing up at my house in the middle of the night. Tall. Hoodie. Staring at my door like he's checking a target. I didn't send him, she said quickly. I swear, he wasn't supposed to go there. Then what was he supposed to do, Amanda? I needed protection, she snapped. After everything. Kyle ghosted me. Jessica turned on me. And you? Me? I laughed coldly. You needed protection from me? The guy you cheated on, humiliated, and dumped? You needed protection from me. She didn't respond. I could hear her breathing, shallow and fast. She was scared now, but not for me. For herself. Marcus isn't what you think, she finally said. He's not mine. I was stupid. I let him in. And now he won't leave. Leave what, Amanda? My life, she said quietly. He thinks I belong to him. I sat down slowly, the weight of it all pressing down like a boulder. You brought a criminal into your mess, I said, voice barely above a whisper. And now you drag me into it. I didn't mean to. You never mean to, I snapped. You just act. And people get burned. I didn't want you to get hurt. Too late. I hung up. My hands were shaking. But not from fear. From fury. Amanda hadn't just destroyed our marriage. She'd invited danger into my home, into my life. And for what? For attention? For thrills? That was the night I made another decision. No more waiting. No more watching. The next morning, I drove to the police station. I filed a restraining order request. Against Amanda. And against Marcus, if I could find his full name. Then I hired a private investigator. Because if she thought she could burn down my life and walk away laughing, she was wrong. The rescue dog had teeth. And he'd just learned how to bite. 3 days later, I had a name, Marcus Fields. The investigator found him in less than 48 hours. Multiple arrests, assault, intimidation, stalking. Nothing that had ever stuck in court, but enough to paint a clear picture. This wasn't just some guy Amanda flirted with to feel alive. This was someone who fed off control, chaos, and fear. He owned a garage on the edge of town, but didn't live there. Nobody knew exactly where he stayed, which made it worse. A shadow with a toolbox and a temper, and now, he had me on his radar. Because of her. Amanda's spiral wasn't a fall anymore. It was a free fall. And she was trying to grab me on the way down. That evening, I found her standing in my driveway again. Hoodie, sunglasses, arms wrapped around herself like she was trying to stay invisible. I almost didn't open the door, but she saw me. She walked up, slow, shaky, and knocked twice like it hurt her. I didn't say a word. Just stared at her. Josh, she whispered. Can I come in? No. She looked behind her like someone might be watching, then leaned in. He knows everything now? About you. About where we live. He said if I don't make things right, he's going to come for both of us. I didn't blink. Make things right. I asked. You mean what, sleep with him? Steal from me? What does that even mean, Amanda? She looked up, eyes glassy. He wants money. He thinks I owe him. He said I promised him a future. I laughed in disbelief. And what future did you promise him? The one where you play house with him in my home? With my life. I didn't think it'd go this far. Yeah, you never do. She opened her mouth again, probably to deliver another carefully crafted excuse. But I'd heard enough. I stepped outside, closing the door behind me. If he shows up again, I said calmly, I'll be ready. Not scared. Ready. And if he lays one finger on me, You, or anything that's mine, I won't call the cops. I'll bury him. Her eyes widened. I didn't raise my voice. Didn't clench a fist. I just told the truth. Go, I added. You wanted the chaos? Liven it. But don't come here again. This place is done with you. She didn't argue. For the first time since this nightmare started, she looked like she knew it was over. She walked back down the driveway. Slowly, head low, like she finally felt the weight of what she'd set in motion. I didn't go back inside immediately. I stood there, watching the street, waiting for the sound of tires that didn't belong, a shape in the shadows. But nothing came. That night, the investigator called again. There's something else, he said. Marcus isn't just harassing you. He's been asking questions. About your job, your finances, even your family. He's fishing for something. Why? I asked. There was a pause. Because Amanda gave him a key. My blood turned cold. A key to what? To your storage unit. My heart slammed against my ribs. I kept all my documents there. Backups of contracts, IDs, passwords, even an old safe box. It was my vault. My clean slate. I drove there at 1 a.m. The lock was gone. Inside, boxes were torn open. Papers scattered. The safe was gone. I stood in the center of it all, chest heaving, every warning bell in my brain screaming. This wasn't just about betrayal anymore. This was a setup. A theft. A trap. Amanda hadn't just ruined our marriage. She'd handed over my life to a predator. And now, he had the blueprints. I called the police at 1:17 a.m., standing barefoot on the cold concrete of the ransacked storage unit. I didn't even feel the chill. Adrenaline numbs everything. The officer who arrived took photos, asked questions, made all the usual noises of concern, but I could already see the indifference behind his eyes. No sign of forced entry. No cameras. And I didn't have proof that Marcus had taken anything. But I knew. I knew exactly who did it. And why. The safe had been bolted to the floor. Whoever took it came prepared. Which meant it wasn't random. It wasn't an act of desperation. It was a move. A calculated one. By noon, I had frozen all my accounts, changed every password, locked every digital door I could think of. But the damage wasn't just about identity or money. It was psychological. It was the invasion. The violation. He'd stepped into my world, pried it open, and stolen a piece of me that I didn't even know I'd been guarding. Amanda didn't call that day. I don't know if she was hiding, or if Marcus had her under his thumb now. Honestly, I didn't care. Sympathy had left the building days ago. All that was left now was clarity, and the need to strike back. I met with my lawyer that afternoon. Divorce papers had been ready for a week, but I'd held off, unsure whether serving them would make things worse. That hesitation was gone now. She's not just reckless, I told him. She's dangerous. And she's aligned herself with someone who isn't afraid to escalate. He nodded. We'll get this filed immediately. I'll also file for a protection order. If he's making threats, even indirectly. He already broke into my life. I cut in. That's not indirect. That's war. It was strange, this sharpness inside me. Not fear. Not sadness. Just precision. I'd been drowning in betrayal, swimming in grief. But now I could see the surface. And I was heading straight for it, fists clenched. 2 days later, I finally heard from Amanda. Text message. No emojis. No baby or please. Just, he's out of control. I'm scared. I made a mistake. Please, I need your help. I stared at the message for a long time. She hadn't apologized. Not really. She hadn't asked if I was okay after everything. She just wanted help. The same way she always had. The same pattern. Use, discard, plead. Rinse, repeat. I didn't respond. Instead, I contacted the PI again. Asked him to dig deeper. Find anything and everything on Marcus. His ties, his habits, his past. I wasn't just going to defend myself anymore. I was going to dismantle whatever threat she'd brought into my life. That night, I received an unmarked envelope at my front door. No return address. No postage. Just dropped off, like a message from the devil. Inside were photos. Of me. Taken from across the street. Me taking out the trash. Me locking my car. Me reading on the porch. On the back of one, in scratchy handwriting. Nice neighborhood. Hate to see it get messy. I didn't sleep that night. I didn't even sit down. I kept the lights off, baseball bat by the door, watching every movement outside through the blinds. Not scared. Not anymore. Prepared. I had no idea how this would end. But it sure as hell wasn't going to end with me on the floor, wondering how I let it get this far. Amanda had thrown the match. Marcus lit the fire. But I was the one who was going to burn it all down before they did.